right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with UFC fighter Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas, how we doing, my man?
Yes, doing very well, thank you. I'm not going to lie. I was looking at myself in this camera over here, and I'm like, why is my mustache so like bushy, man? But anyways, that's just a little sidetrack. But hope you're doing good as well, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course. And with that being said, man, you got a fight coming up, my man. Talk to us a little bit more about that fight you got coming up.
Yeah, so this is my first fight in the UFC that'll be at home, on home turf, on home ground, home court advantage. No more time zone changes and all that crap. But yeah, so July 27th, UFC 304, massive card. You know, you got some great fights on that card. And yeah, I'm fighting Marcin Prachnio. So like I say, I'm looking forward to it. He's a tough opponent. He's got a couple spots above me, and it's my turn to take those spots away from him and move my way up the ranks.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that matchup being made, what'd you kind of think of the matchup? And what do you think it kind of does for you if you get a win?
Well, it just moves me closer towards the top 15. At the end of the day, I'll be projecting to have three. Yeah, this guy's very experienced. Obviously, he's had a lot. He's had a couple more fights than me in the UFC. He's also had a bit of a mixed bag as well. He's shown some very good things, some things that obviously I can see that I'll have an advantage over him with. But he's a tough guy. Do you know what I mean? He's hard to put away. But yeah, like I say. My skill sets have improved dramatically. I almost feel like this is God's intervention in order for me to fight later as opposed to earlier. I wanted to fight, in sort of March, April time, but like I say, it's all in God's timing. So, the fact that it's happening at home and in July is absolutely amazing, and it's meant that I was able to take more time to spend more time improving my game, improving my overall skill set, so that I can go out and, like I say, get the skills so sharp that I'll already be ready for that top 15 now. But just work my way up slowly. And he's got, like I say, he's got a couple of spots above me. He's a good fighter, tough fighter. Kyokushin karate guy. But I do feel that I can. All I got to do is go out there and just be me. Do you know what I mean? Just be me. Throw all my skill sets out on show. When they say you're on the edge of the cliff, you got a backpack on. You don't know if you've got a parachute in there and you just got to jump. That's the sort of mentality that I've got to be when I go out there. I put on my best performance. Trust me, I'm going to be walking away with the win.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you mentioned, you're sharpening up your skills, man. And, this being your second stint in the UFC, what skills do you think you've sharpened up since your second stint in the UFC now?
Well, one thing is definitely mentally. Mentally, I'm coming in with a different type of intensity. I realize that this is not fun and games. This is not just a sport. This is freaking war. Do you know what I mean? So you got to go out there and act accordingly. I'm trying to take over his land. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to chop the head of the king and take his land and conquer. Do you know what I mean? So this is the type of mentality, and having that warlike mentality definitely helps me to perform a lot better, because it makes you go more for things. I believe that my overall MMA skill set has also improved from striking to wrestling to jiu-jitsu all over, as every fighter does. We're always training, we're always trying to improve, but I've literally spent all my time just trying to improve. So the fact that I was able to take such a long time to work on loads of different things, it means that I've definitely evolved. And the last piece of the puzzle is to be able to show that evolution in the fight, which I've yet to do. So it's a case of confidence. It's a case of practice and putting all those things together to make that magical formula to put out my best performance. And I definitely feel like I'm on track to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to your next matchup, man. And, obviously, you've had a lot of adversity in your career. And, what is maybe the best advice that you might have had so far in your MMA career?
I would say you got to fight fearless. It's one thing being able to train appropriately, do everything right, practice those skill sets. I definitely put myself in a lot more positions where, I'm the least comfortable in training, so that I can become more comfortable in the fight. But it's all about being fearless. I think in a fight, your confidence can help your skill set be tenfold better than what it is in training and what it is, just by having that mentality of, I've got to go out there and just put it all out on the line. You literally got to go out there and, like I say, you can't leave no stone unturned in the cage. You got to use everything to its full capacity. I definitely think going in there with the utmost confidence is the best way to get the most out of yourself, because everyone trains hard. Do you know what I mean? Everyone does all the right things. They're all eating right. They're all sleeping right. You know, they want to win at this high level. So I'll say is just be fearless. Like, if there's anything to take or any piece of advice, you got to go in there and you got to just literally everything you have, throw it all out there, and don't for 1 second doubt yourself. Go in there and do everything you can.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a solid message for sure. And you mentioned mentally you've been improving a lot. And in an old interview you did with Ariel Hawani, you had a bunch of like messages and stuff like on like the wall behind you on like a whiteboard or something. Do you still happen to do that?
It's still there, yeah. Obviously,
Nice.
I've got stuff that I don't really want to reveal too much, but realistically, I've got something that resonates with me quite a lot. Obviously, I wrote on there that I'm getting the win in my next fight, of course. But feed the faith and starve the doubt. Accept the pain, feel the pain, embrace the pain. These are the things that I'm trying to involve more heavily within my training and within my preparations. And I can already see it paying dividends. I kind of like suffering. Do you know what I mean? Like, in a way, it's like you become one with it. You become sort of just accustomed to it. It's like a part of my body, just being able to suffer, and you just enjoy it. I mean, even this morning I was doing the airdyne bike, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. I bloody hated every second of it, but I'm like, this is what's going to make my gas tank next level in this fight. And just some of my future goals in there. I've got 2 boards, one for the future goals and one for the ones one for near future, one for more distant future. But like I say, everything that I write on it, you've almost as well, you know, when things haven't gone my way, you just got to figure out why it is that it didn't go that way, or potentially it was setting you up for something bigger and better. And 100%, I believe that every single time, even though I've written things for good things to happen, it's always just set me up for better things to happen if they didn't, you know, straight away. So that gives me also a lot of confidence.
Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty awesome that you still do that. And another thing I was curious about is obviously, you know, you mentioned you went through like some suffering and stuff. When you fought Rountree, you obviously had a really nasty injury to your knee. I was curious, what did you have to do during physical therapy to kind of recover and everything? And then on top of that, what was maybe something like maybe an exercise or a drill that maybe you couldn't do in the beginning, and then like you finally overcame it and it felt maybe good for you?
Yeah, so I actually had 2 surgeries. The first one was the main one, was the big one, was the one that literally just had freaking rods in every single which way, just going into my knee, fixing it. Literally, my physio came to watch the operation so that she could, you know, tailor my program appropriately. And she said she's never seen a more complicated surgery. Literally, like I said, rods going from every angle. But I mean, to be honest, the second surgery was only because there was so much inflammation. They just had to basically take it. It causes a type of inflammation that just hardens and doesn't go away, and they had to remove that, you know, a couple months into my recovery. But essentially, like, I just did my one thing that I know that a lot of people don't do, and one thing that I did do is I took my physio very. Number one, is the only thing I could concentrate on. But also, I was very diligent with it. I did everything I could, as much as I could. If it was a bit too sore, okay, I rested it, but then I made sure I iced it. You know, I had the game ready, which was able to compress and ice it at the same time. You know, I did a lot of things to make sure, you know, the only thing I'll say that didn't really lead towards my recovery or didn't sort of aid my recovery was that I was drinking quite a lot. Just because I did not want to be in I didn't want to be in reality. I wanted to get away from reality. And what I realized even more so is that that's all drugs are. It's just an escape from reality. Your reality has got to be so good that you don't want to escape. But unfortunately, at the time, it was horrible. Obviously, I just didn't want to be there, Joe. And drinking was the only way to help me feel a bit less sad about the whole situation. But, you know, obviously, the physio just slowly just started getting better. After I had that second operation, that's when everything tenfold increased and went so much better. It started off very slow, you know, just tensing the leg muscles, stretching, you know, very light movements. But then slowly, once I was able to do, you know, a squat, then a one-legged squat, then balancing on the leg, then being able to shoot. Once I was able to shoot like a wrestler's shot on my knee, I'm like, we are now almost at full recovery, able to do the kicks and stuff like this. It just took time. You just build confidence over time. You build confidence through your exercise, and then you build confidence through your practice. So it was just slow, day by day, natural progressions. But like I say, I was diligent. Every single day I was working on something to improve my leg. And that is why I recovered so quickly. And coupled by the fact that the operation they did an amazing job. So not only was the physio amazing, but the actual operation was amazing because they added synthetic ligaments. They did stuff that you wouldn't do to a knee. They did stuff that's like almost like, we want this guy to get back. They put their full efforts into making it as strong as possible. And realistically, in terms of the ligaments, it is stronger than it's ever been. And I'm very grateful and thankful for that.
Yeah, wow. No, that's definitely incredible. And I'm glad the UFC doctors hooked you up with that. And getting back in that Ariel Helwani interview, you actually happened to mention that you were looking to fight Rountree, but then you pulled out due to like a previous knee injury you had. So I was curious, do you think maybe Rountree like maybe knew about that injury when you pulled out, and that's why he maybe threw that kick in the fight?
But basically, 10 weeks out from the fight, I got an injury, and I told my manager, and I told, obviously, I asked the doctor, can I fight? And he said I could. So it was just basically like a question of 10 weeks out, whether I should take the fight or not. I think in an interview, I don't know, apparently maybe I said something like where, oh yeah, I had a knee surgery, but it wasn't anything that would lead him to believe that I had a weakness in my knee. Because I went into that fight I hid the fact that I did have an injury, and I just went in there and tried to, obviously I thought I had the skill set enough to win the fight. But unfortunately for me, Rountree came out in his resurgence stage, and that was the start of his resurgence. But that's where I feel I am in my career, is in my resurgence stage. So, the aggressive, vicious mentality is now going to be brought out from my side. So, fair play to him. He won the fight. But I'm back. And like I say, I'm better than ever. And I'm going to show what I'm truly capable of.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to it. And another thing I thought was pretty cool, you posted it on your Instagram the other day. It probably felt pretty good on your leg, or like for your confidence, at least. You were throwing that awesome axe kick, man. Talk to us a little bit more about like throwing those kicks, and why do you think they're not really used too much in MMA?
Because not many of them can throw it. It's just as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? I've been doing kickboxing since I was a young boy. I've improved my skill sets over time. I've been specifically working on increasing certain attributes in my kicking. I've always been a kicker. And at the end of the day, if you've got that in your arsenal, fucking throw it. Do you know what I mean? Why are you just like keeping it in the back? Like I say, go all out, embrace it. Do you know what I mean? Don't just keep it in the closet. You got to freaking throw it out there. Do you know what I mean? If you got this amazing outfit, why are you just going to keep it getting dusty in there? Do you know what I mean? You need to actually like wear it. So, yeah, man, it's just, I can do these things. Why not practice them? Why not get them going? And then, then it makes it easier to throw it off in the fight.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you got a bunch of tattoos, man. Talk to us a little bit more about some of your favorite tattoos you got.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it. So obviously, do you know what? I went to school in America for 2 years. Not many people know that about me, but I went there from 16 to 18 in Louisiana. So they were like a proper, almost like a very religious state, and a lot of, I went to a Catholic school, and people like really believed in their faith and stuff like this, and that actually helped me through a lot of things. Like even before and after basketball practice, they would they'll pray before and after football games and stuff like this. So it brought me a lot closer to my faith, and a lot of those things, like I realized that being closer to my faith got me through the hardest of times, and often led me to the amazing things that happened later on in my life. So in Lithuania, it says dedication, faith, love, and family over a cross. Those things are like very important pillars of me personally. Obviously, I've got the gladiator tattoo, Baltic gladiator. So I'll put those two together, being the gladiator that I am, and I have God's strength and power and everything coming through. And then here you've got the John Jones tattoo, I'll call it. But Philippians 4:13, that's again a quote that has really resonated with me, that has really sort of become a part of my being. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And trust me, he strengthens me all the time through all of these things that have happened, all these trials and tribulations. It has made me stronger. So I can do all things through the man who, the one, the only, that strengthens me to do it. So there's going to be more tats. I'm thinking about having a phoenix on the end there. Pretty self-explanatory for that one. Just because I've been burnt so many times and I've always risen from the ashes. They don't call me the comeback king for nothing. So, like I say, there's a lot more to be done. But I'm just very positive, very grateful, very thankful for everything that's happened. Very thankful for my life right now, and very excited to capitalize on all the opportunities that are presented to me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome. And I'm looking forward to that Phoenix tattoo when you do end up getting it. And, man, with your fighting career, what's maybe some of the coolest places that you've traveled to?
By far, my favorite, Australia.
Okay.
To this day, oh my God, the flight was horrendous. However, when we got there, Perth, oh my God, it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The people are lovely. The environment was amazing. It was nice and hot, and I just loved it. Everything about it, I just loved it. And obviously, I really enjoyed Vegas as well. But I would love to fight in the T-Mobile Arena, and I know that will be within my future sights for sure to fight there, because I've always loved Vegas. I've always loved America. So, but yeah, to this day, Perth has been probably the best trip out of all of them.
That's awesome. That definitely sounds pretty cool. And when it comes to like traveling and stuff to all these different places, how do you kind of deal with the time zone difference and stuff when it comes to fighting?
I think it's just the adrenaline, the war mode. When you're going into war, you can adjust. It's very easy. I've often tried to travel places. In Australia, I didn't get to travel earlier. I just literally got told, 2 weeks out, and then they booked the flight, and it was on a bloody Wednesday, and then I fought on Sunday. So I don't know. You kind of just, the fight adjusts you in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like as much as I want to have every advantage possible to try and win a fight, at the end of the day it's very primal. Like, so, imagine you're conquering lands. You don't know what bloody time zone it is. At the end of the day, you got to go and battle people. You got to cut the other guy's heads off because they ain't going to care. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very very instinctual thing just for me. Just when you're getting ready for war, your body naturally adjusts. And but yeah, of course, when it comes to the different time zones, I just try and get there a little bit earlier just to adjust a bit better, especially for this next fight. And be up probably like 1-2 in the morning. But again, just the last week, I'll train at those times, and my body will be ready. When the body prepares for war, mate, it definitely adapts very quickly.
Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty cool. And speaking about like figuring out like the different times and stuff for your fights, when you get offered a fight, do you happen to know like maybe like who's the main event or like where you're going to be on the card, or you just kind of have to take the fight and kind of figure it out as it kind of goes?
Yeah, kind of got to figure it out as it goes along. Sometimes we get told earlier, sometimes we don't. But yeah, realistically, you kind of just, you prepare that that you're going to fight late. So as long as you train late, you'll be able to adjust to that time, really.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. And another thing too, I wanted to get back into. You mentioned, when you were released from the UFC, you found out on like X and stuff. Talk us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I kind of already had an inkling that I was going to get cut. 3 losses off the trot, but I thought, the Oleg Shaychuk fight. A lot of people thought I won that fight. And I took some very difficult fights as well. And obviously, you look at Khalil now; he's in the top 10. So. I thought that they'll give me another chance, at least one more chance, but unfortunately they didn't. But I just saw roster watch X with my name on it, and I was like, and my heart dropped. I'm like, this can't be true, because I was just so trying to be so positive that things would be looking up, and then I messaged my manager, and then obviously he called me and told me the news. But yeah, like that was the initial thing, is just seeing the red X next to my name, and then yeah, obviously I think my manager was, he didn't want to break the news to me because he knew how upset I would be, but it's part of the game at the end of the day. And I love my manager. He's a great guy, and obviously he cares about me, but it was it was a tough moment, but like I say, I'm glad that it happened.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm glad you're back, man. And like I said, because you definitely have a lot of potential, and we're looking forward to your next fight. And another thing I was curious about as well too, when you're getting ready to go to your fights and stuff, how does it kind of work on like flying out your cornerman and everything like that? Like, talk to us more about like how that kind of works with the UFC.
Yeah, well, I mean, so for the UK card, I'm driving, so all my corner guys are just going to come with me, and we're going to drive up there. Fight week officially starts on Tuesday, so most people end up getting to those places across on Tuesday. But when it's like Vegas and stuff like this, I try and get there a week early. Like I say, instead of coming on the Tuesday, I'll try and come on the Sunday or the Saturday. And for that, you have to pay yourself, but because everything on the fight week's covered. But yeah, I mean, look, I pay for one of my corners is free. The other two corners I have to pay for. But like I say, it's a very small expense considering how much you get paid for when you go and win. So at the end of the day, those are kind of things that I'm like, it is what it is, and it shows my appreciation to my cornermen that they've been helping me and training with me. The least that I could do is at least pay for their flights and pay for their hotel, and then we all go and get the job done and enjoy.
Let's go. No, it definitely sounds awesome. And what's the vibes kind of like after your fights? What do you typically do?
I get hammered, mate. To be honest, I must admit, in this fight, before in fight camps, I used to drink even in fight camp. Not like always so crazy, but maybe it's a bad habit from my dark times. But straight away I'm on the bevies, mate. It goes off, mate. I'm on a wild one. I'm on a party hype, but for unfortunately for the last couple of times I've ended up getting blacked out wasted, which I do not want to go back to. But because obviously you just think, yeah, Joe, I mean, I'm winning. I can drink. You feel invincible. I can drink anything now. I've just been in a fight, and unfortunately that's not the case. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I just want to spend time with my loved ones, my close people, and not like I said, I've gone into this fight camp like no stone unturned, and I feel so much better not drinking. I have such better vibe, like being here, being present. Obviously, I will after my fight, but I'm not going to go mad. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy spending time. I'm going to enjoy the serotonin and stuff like this. After a big victory, just enjoy being around people that I love. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's important. And it definitely sounds like a lot of fun, though. And what's typically your go-to drink?
Go-to drink, mate. Usually, you won't know about this drink, but there's and it's funny because obviously they don't sell that to you after your fight, so I'm just got to make my. But I love a vodka and Diet Coke, mate. But there's a special like. I love a porn star martini as well, mate. I'm very partial for a porn star martini. So either one of those two, mate. Call me a fruitcake, call me whatever. But yeah, like I say, I love me a porn star martini. That is a drink. I could drink like 10 of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, fair enough. That definitely makes sense. And when you're doing like these parties and stuff, like after your fights, do you happen to have like any fans or anything like that? Like start buying you drinks and stuff?
I've had it on a couple of occasions. Especially after the fight in Australia. I actually ended up going out on a date, and they asked me for they asked to can we have a picture with you? And they asked the girl to take the photo as well. I was like, mate, I'm feeling like such a G right now. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, you just fought in the UFC. I'm like, yeah, motherfuckers. But yeah, a couple of times here and there, but by no means is my name big enough to warrant a load of fans and photos. But those times are coming. But like I say, we just gotta make ourselves known. This is why I truly think this is perfect planning, because get me to fight in the UK and get me on the mic afterwards after a win. That's where I can really sell myself.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. We're looking forward to it. And yeah, that's definitely an awesome memory. And speaking of memories, when it comes to training in the gym, man, what's maybe some of your favorite gym memories?
Do you know what? Just the times where I'm just like grinding, grafting, and like, you finish it. I have loads of like like even just training with Tom Aspinall and his team, and even training with John Jones and stuff like this, training with Arlovsky, asking me to stay an extra week just to help him train because he thought I was good enough and stuff like this, which was amazing. But yeah, just like little roles and little exchanges that you've had and where you feel like really good, you've had a good spar. There's loads of memories. Do you know what I mean? I believe everyone has them. We have all those even the memories of where things haven't gone your way, but then you look a couple months later at your improvements. Those are good memories as well. So there's many of them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, obviously, being in the UFC, you've done a good bit of interviews and stuff now. What do you think is a question that maybe stood out to you, whether it was a good one, dumb one? Just talk to us more about that if you can.
I don't know, man. I've been asked so many different questions. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people know what I do as a fighter, but not many people know who Modestas as a person is. And I feel like that's where people can really see my personality and see who I am as a person. People often, when they ask me questions on like Instagram, is always to do with fighting. And of course, my identity is a fighter. But, sometimes I'm like, well, don't you want to get to know like what I like to do on the weekend, or fucking, what's if I took a girl out on a date, where would I take her, or or whatever, or what are my thoughts about war and stuff like this, and how does that link in towards your fighting? Like maybe just some different, more miscellaneous things, like do you like to smoke weed, and I don't know, like just something different and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? And like, so I can delve really deep into many different things, and I think that's the intricacies of my mind. As many other fighters, we've all got very intricate minds. I feel like delving deeper into those things would be a lot more entertaining for people, and that's just personally what I think. Anyways, no, I mean, listen, if people just want to know about the fighting, hey, it is what it is.
No, I think that's fantastic. No, I think that's an awesome answer that you said that, because like I said, obviously everyone asks like a lot of the same fighting questions, but someone actually reached out to me the other day and they were like, you ask a lot of like these fighters like what they do outside the cage, and I think that's awesome. And I didn't realize not a lot of people do that. So I did want to ask you, what do you typically like to do outside the cage, man? What do you like to do on the weekends,
Do you know what? It's funny because it's changed. Now my fight camp, like I say, feed the faith, starve the doubt. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, go to jail. You're going to jail during training camp, and the suffering almost like is sadistic, but you like it. You're like, yeah, I like to suffer a little bit. Do you know what I mean? You feel like you've earned more of the reward for the fight afterwards. So even sometimes when you're battered and I just like sitting at home watching fucking Harry Potter, and do you know what I mean, watching a show and eating some nice food, and do you know what I mean, and just relaxing. Before, I always used to be the one for the night out. Oh, I've got to go out and see a girl, go on a night out, do something crazy, and then you're up all night, and and then Sunday you're like just basically trying to recover. But I love going on walks. I love going through London, like through Hyde Park, and just, do you know what I mean, having a coffee, like my staple coffee. Do you know what I mean? Having about 4 of them in the day probably, and then just like walking by, like just like I say, just exploring, walking through the park. Do you know what I mean? Just being adventurous. I like to be adventurous. I don't have anything that I do in particular, but like I say, I like being around good people, and I like just talking about random shit and just walking through really nice sceneries. I feel like walking through nice nice sceneries and stuff like that, picturesque is great for the body and great for the soul. So yeah, like I say, I used to do a lot of going out and a lot of going to like, maybe like not even restaurants, but like different places and stuff like this, and trying to show people a good time. And, now I actually just really like enjoying my own time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty cool. And I can't get off my mind now that you mentioned it. I interviewed Dumas a little bit ago, and he broke the news that he was fighting high against Josh Frems. Now that you said it, I'm curious. Do you smoke weed too, man?
Very, very occasionally. I realize that it does affect your REM sleep, and obviously during camp, my REM sleep is very important. I've got the Whoop, obviously, to try and track all of that. But I do like it. I do like it. I mean, after a fight, or when you're just chilling, or you haven't got anything coming up, or maybe I'm going on a holiday. I haven't been on holiday in ages. I would love just to, oh mate, you just smoke some weed, you feel great. You just microdose it. You don't go too mad. Don't have a spliff. I'll literally just through like one of them vape things, just a little bit, like microdose it. You feel great. You feel happy. You feel relaxed. Or through like a vaporizer or something, and it makes you feel good. But yeah, during training, I don't like to do it just because it does affect my sleep. So I'd rather just do that when I haven't got anything coming up. But yeah, mate, it's a vibe. I'd love to go to Amsterdam and just, do you know what I mean? Just do that. But mate, one of my friends gave me an edible one time, and I swear to God, I thought I was on another fucking planet. So I don't think I'll go down that route again. The microdosing for me, or like through the vaporizer, is the best. It just makes me feel chilled out.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So do you happen to like ever like hit those things and then like just start like eating or anything like that? If so, what's maybe your go-to meal?
Oh my, yeah, no, definitely, mate. I'm a sweet tooth fiend. Like when I say sweet tooth fiend, I mean like if there was a bank with and it contained all the chocolate in the world, I would try and rob that bank because I'm not going my life without something sweet. So I love cakes and chocolate. That's my go-to, mate. Anything sweet, bro. I look at all of it. I look through all these food challenges, eating like massive cakes. That is me all day. Everyone says burgers and pizzas. For me, it's freaking cakes and Pop-Tarts, mate.
That's awesome. That's definitely pretty awesome. So do you happen to like make any cakes or anything like that yourself or what?
Bro, I ain't a cook. I can make a 10-10 risotto and I can make a 10-10 pancake. But aside from that, I can't make anything else. I made Christmas dinner once, just following a load of instructions. Apparently, I didn't do too bad, but for the most part, mate, I don't do any baking. If I was to like, I would rather just someone bake it and I eat it. That would be the enjoyment for me.
No, it definitely sounds like better enjoyment. And a while ago in the interview, you mentioned a little bit about you doing like basketball practice. Do you happen to still play a little bit of basketball? And if so, do you happen to play against anybody in your gym?
Nah, bits and bobs, mate. Like literally, some of my friends, they've got a basketball hoop in the back garden. I just shoot it every now and then. Or when I was in Vegas, I would just like come outside and just dribble the ball a little bit. Your boy's still got handles, do you know what I mean? The shot's sometimes a little bit off, but once I get warmed up and everything, like I enjoy it. I'd love to play it a little bit more, but it is sometimes a bit quite taxing on the knees and stuff. But yeah, man, and like I said, I don't want to get no injuries. You know what I mean? I'd rather just save myself for the MMA. It's funny, any sport I do, I just get completely engrossed by the sport, and I don't give a shit about anything else. It's mad how much I used to watch American football, and now I don't really watch it that much anymore, unless it's like the Super Bowl, and stuff like this. I don't even watch the NBA anymore, which is mad. But yeah, like I do like basketball. It's always been like one of my favorite sports.
That's awesome. That's definitely pretty cool. And one thing I always like to ask every fighter I bring on the show is I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I've been training for 19 years now, since I started when I was 5 years old, and I've been teaching for 6 years now. So I love martial arts.
Amazing.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. And with that being said, man, with all the different guys I have in my gym, what advice you give them? Keep on coming into the gym to keep on getting better and better every day.
Force yourself to be in an uncomfortable situation. If you can't do a roundhouse kick with perfect technique, get it to the point where you believe it is perfect technique, or you can't do something, or you're like, oh, I really don't like doing this, I'm scared of doing this. Put yourself in the fire. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way to improve. Always work on stuff that you're not good at. It's all good practicing stuff that you're good at, and of course you got to like tick over with that stuff, otherwise you don't want to lose it. But I'd say always put yourself in stressful situations in training, because it makes you more comfortable with the uncomfortable, and then that move then doesn't become uncomfortable anymore. So that's probably the best thing I would say. Like I say, it's just practice, isn't it? You just got to do it a little bit every day, even if it's just a little bit every day, and it will compound over time. Kobe Bryant, what a legend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he's definitely a legend, man. And it's been awesome talking to you, man. And with that being said, what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
Get ready for the most brutal performance by the Baltic Gladiator ever. This is going to be me on a whole nother level. And I'm looking forward to it. There'll be pain, there'll be blood, and there will be me being victorious once again.
Let's go. And we're looking forward to that, man. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we'll have to do another one in the future where I'm just kind of asking you some more sporadic questions, not about just fight, man. Because now you got me thinking, man. Like I said, it's definitely a good comment that you said.
Mate, I love it. I love chatting to you, bro. Like I say, you're a great guy. And yeah, man, I'm sure we'll have some very interesting conversations in the future.
Yeah, yeah, no, we definitely have to. Like I said, we'll book another one in the future after your fight. And like I said, man, thank you so much for taking it. It means a lot to me.
You definitely, my man. Listen, you're the man. I really, like I say, I really enjoyed talking to you, mate. And I'm looking forward to doing it more. Now all we've got to do is go and get this big win, and then we'll have a good celebratory talk afterwards. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, man, one more thing. I got a video of me doing axe kicks and stuff on my Instagram. I'm gonna DM it to you after the interview. So thank you again.
Amazing. I'm definitely gonna check it out, my brother.
Let's go. All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a lovely day, my brother. Take care.
Man. All right. Take care.